Alright, so this is a guide on how to flash TWRP and root your OnePlus 7 or OnePlus 7 Pro running Android 10 or Android Q. This guide will be done on a Mac and aims to be beginner friendly. There aren't really many guides on how to do this for Android 10, but there's plenty of guides on how to do it for Android 9. But you might have already realized that if you follow an Android 9 guide, then you probably will end up in a fastboot loop, which is effectively a soft brick, and you'll have to flash a stock ROM to get yourself out of that. Now, if you're in that position, then please check out my other videos because I do plan to make a guide on how to recover your phone if it's in that state. So that video might be available now. But yeah, if you've tried that and you're wondering how to do it for Android 10, then follow this guide. Oh, and one thing worth noting is that you will need an unlocked bootloader. So if you haven't already done this, then check out my guide and there's a video on how to do it. Okay, so first things first, TWRP doesn't officially support Android 10, but thanks to this user here, whose name I'm not going to attempt to pronounce, he has released a modified version of TWRP which will work with Android 10 and will work for OnePlus 7 and OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, depending on the device that you have to click a particular link in the description, which will be labeled, but when you open this page, make sure the title here matches the device that you have. Now, I have the OnePlus 7 Pro, and you can see Pro is written here, so I'm going to be using this page. If you have the OnePlus 7, then click the other link, which will take you to a very similar post, which just doesn't have the Pro in the name. So click either of those links and then scroll down until you see downloads, and you are going to need to download the first one here, which is unofficial Q. So Q is just Android 10. So click that link and download it. And then you're also going to need the third link, which is unofficial installer. And for the 7 Pro device, it's going to be exactly the same layout. So just click those two links and download those two files. Now, the second thing you're going to need is Magisk. So Magisk will allow you to root your device. And if you scroll down on this post, which I have again linked in the description, you want to download latest stable and also latest Magisk manager. So altogether, you should have downloaded 4 files. So now that we have our files, we're going to have to place a few of them onto the device itself. To access an Android device from a MacBook, you can use a piece of software called Android File Transfer, which again I'll link in the description. And it's a very straightforward piece of software that allows you to drag and drop files onto your device and from your device with your Mac. So I've got my device open here, and I'm going to choose to put the files in the downloads folder. Now, I've already dropped them in there previously, but the files we're going to need on the device is Magisk, which allows us to root, Magisk manager.apk, which is the installation file for an app that we'll use later on, and then TWRP that we downloaded from the XDA page. Now, it's important that this is the zip file and not the image file. The image file we're going to keep on the Mac. On the device itself, we're going to have to change a setting in order to be able to send a command from the MacBook to the phone. So open up Settings and then scroll down until you see About Phone. Click that, and then where it says build number, click it multiple times, and if you have a password, you may be requested to enter it. I'll quickly do this now. It will then say you are now a developer at the bottom. So return back, and where it says System, click that, and then click Developer Options, and scroll down until you see USB debugging. And then just enable this option and click OK. So that's it for the part on the device, and let's return back to the Mac. So to flash TWRP to the phone, we're going to need to use a couple of commands on the MacBook. If you've seen my previous video on how to unlock the bootloader, you'd have come across platform tools already. But if not, just check out the link in the description and download the Mac version. Just make sure to unzip the folder, and inside the folder you're going to have a list of these commands, but we're only going to use 2 of them. We're going to start with ADB, and basically we're just going to check to make sure whether the Mac can correctly identify the phone, just to ensure that we're not going to run into any issues when we're flashing. So first connect the phone to the laptop, and you should get a notification saying allow for USB debugging, and just click allow. And then on the laptop, drag the ADB command into a terminal window. And then it will automatically create space for you there, and you can just type in devices. If the phone's correctly identified, you'll have a list of numbers here followed by device. If it says unauthorized instead of device, then go back into settings, disable USB debugging, then enable it again, and you should get that pop-up notification, and just click allow. Then run this command again, and if you've got device here, then you're good to go. So now we know that the phone is identified by the Mac. We can go ahead and disconnect and then power down. So in order to flash, we're going to have to boot into fastboot mode. So to do that, you have to hold both volume up and volume down, and then hold power. And when you feel a vibration, let go of all 3. Okay, so here you can see that I'm in fastboot mode. This is what it looks like. So now connect the Mac to the phone again. And we're just going to do another check, sort of similar to what we just did with ADB, but now we're going to use the fastboot command. So drag fastboot into terminal, and then type in devices. So it's going to look slightly different this time. If it's correctly identified, it will say fastboot instead of device. So if it looks like this, you're good to go. Now what we're going to do is load TWRP onto the phone. But this isn't going to flash TWRP, it's just going to temporarily load the image to the phone. So the phone can load up TWRP, and then we're going to flash from inside the phone. So this time, you want to drag fastboot command again, and then type in boot, space, and then drag twrp.image. Make sure it's the image file, otherwise it's not going to work. And then click enter. And what's going to happen is the phone is going to load TWRP, but it hasn't flashed. So if we were to reboot the phone now and try to reboot into recovery, then it's not going to work. If you've got a password, then you can type it in. And actually, you don't need to be connected to the laptop anymore, because we're going to flash from within the phone itself. So you can disconnect, and everything on the Mac is done now. We're just going to deal with the phone. So I'm just going to type in my password. Just going to decrypt the data. Okay, so you'll always be greeted with this pop-up message. So it's asking you whether you want to keep the system read-only. We don't want to do this because we do in fact want to flash something. So we're going to swipe to allow modifications. And now click install. And then look for where you say the twrp.zip. So mine's in downloads, and then my twrp.zip is here. Okay. And what we're going to do is just swipe to confirm flash. This isn't going to take long, maybe 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, so if it was successful, it will look exactly how my phone looks now. It says you are now unrooted, which is true, but also you weren't rooted before, so just ignore it. We're about to start the rooting process now. But before we do that, just click wipe dalvik. That's not a necessary step, but I just like to do it after each flash. Now you can click home, and What's happened now is that TWRP has been flashed to the device, so recovery is permanently on your device unless you were to flash a stock image. But for now, we're done with the flashing of TWRP. Now it's just to flash Magisk. So go back into your downloads or wherever you saved it, click magisk.zip and do the same as what we did before. Swipe to confirm flash. This might take slightly longer. Okay, so successfully done. Again, you can wipe dalvik. Okay, so we're done here. So click home again. And now we just have to reboot the system. So click reboot and then system. And now it's going to boot up the operating system. And I'll just type in my password. Okay, so you're not going to notice anything different here, but what we can do now is go into your file manager and click downloads, or wherever you saved the Magisk, and click magiskmanager.apk. We're going to try and install that, but settings is going to block it because it's unauthorized, so just go into settings and allow from this source. Go back and then install. Okay, so open up. So this is Magisk Manager, and this is where you can install all of your modules or mods. So that just allows you to change your device to how you want it. I'll make a few more videos on a list of nice modules that you can get. But for now, that's it really. So we have TWRP running on Android 10, on the OnePlus 7 and OnePlus 7 Pro, and the device is completely rooted. So the only thing I'd recommend doing now is to make a NAND backup, just in case you run into any issues later on. You can just simply reflash to your current state. So what you can do actually is go into settings and then go back into developer options and look for something called advanced reboot. If you enable that, you'll be able to boot into recovery when you hold the power button. So now that we have TWRP flash, it's going to reboot into TWRP. Good, so it's going to ask me for my password again, just to decrypt the data. So to create a NAND backup, I'll just quickly show you how to do it. Go into backup, and what I like to do is to tick all of these boxes just to make sure every single file is backed up, and it will completely restore my phone to the current state it's in now if I was to flash that NAND. So I'm not actually going to flash it now. I'm not going to back it up now because I've already got a backup. But what you would do is swipe to backup and it will save it onto your device. Then what you want to do is move that folder of files into a safe place, such as a hard drive, external hard drive, anything where it's going to be safe. Because if you were to run into an issue, you're going to want to be able to access the NAND backup to flash and save you. So I'm not going to do it now, but again, swipe to backup and then save it to a safe place. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It's the second video I've actually ever made. I made it because I really struggled to find a guide on how to flash TWRP and root the OnePlus 7 Pro for Android 10. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, then just let me know in the comments. I actually plan to make a video on how to recover a bricked or a device that's stuck in a boot loop, because I've had that happen a couple of times, so I've trialed and errored it. I found it out for myself. Also, if you've got any suggestions on how I can improve the quality of the videos, that would also be appreciated. So yeah, so catch you guys soon.